I'm gonna check it on YouTube and make sure. So assume it is working and say hello to everyone, Alex.
Hello.
Oh wow, that was a great intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Source Wall. This is going to be our first episode. It's a name Alex picked. I hate it personally.
Yep. That's why I picked it.
Yeah, he knew it would get under my skin, and
I wanted to get under his skin. Yep.
Yep. Oh, there it is. It is working. And I knew it would get under my skin. And there we go. Well, we both sound good, man.
I'm glad.
Yeah. So, let me switch on to the comments over here. If anyone does pop in, I can click on a comment or two. I'll keep an eye kind of on the comments, but mainly we're here to watch a movie. So before we get into that movie, let's watch our intro together. So it's going to mute our mics while this intro plays, but it's only 11 seconds. So here's the intro to our show. Enjoy.
Behold the source wall. Behind it is the single greatest secret of the universe. This is as far as I dare to go.
Ooh, I don't know if that played all the way. We'll try again.
Behold the source wall. Behind it is the single greatest secret of the universe. This is as far as I dare to
go. There we go. Did you see it, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this program. It's very idiot proof, which is good because I'm a big moron.
I feel that way as well about myself.
So Alex and I have been friends for a long time. Alex was saying right before the show how he loved my consistency as far as being poor, and no, he was complimenting my shirt. He actually said there's a picture of you right behind the camera where he's filming, like on the other side of his camera, that is like of us from a few years ago, and I'm wearing a Superman shirt, and he's like, and now you're wearing a Green Lantern shirt, which this shirt, by the way, is from when the Ryan Reynolds movie came out. So
I'm sure you owned that shirt when I knew you back then as well.
You did. And so Alex was like, I love your consistency. He's like, I'm literally looking at you on the monitor, and I'm looking at a picture of you up here, and you're the exact same. Probably even similar haircuts.
Oh yeah, very much so. And facial hair.
Yeah, I don't really, once you find something, once you hit gold, Alex, you stop digging. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
No matter how little gold it is.
Maybe it's not even gold.
Maybe it's just
the yellow rock. That's some
yellow rock.
But Alex and Alex came up with this great idea. We were talking about maybe doing a show at some point, and originally we were talking about doing something that was Thor related because Alex is a big fan of the Jason Aaron Thor run. And then Alex was I don't know where it came from, but it was like, we did a commentary track for Batman and Robin on the 100th episode of Seek and Destroy. And then Alex just one day last week was like, hey, do you want to he's like, do you have HBO Max? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, so do I. And he goes, do you want to just do commentaries for all the DC animated movies? And I was almost like, I thought you'd never ask. It was almost like waiting for someone to ask you to marry them after you've been together for 5 years. I was like, yeah, I do want to do that. That sounds amazing. And then I was like, but I don't know if I could do both, this and the Thor thing. And you're like, well, if you can't do both, then let's do this because no prep time. And now I got StreamYard, so now we can do it live and just kind of hang out live. So I don't have to spend like all night editing it either. So it's really a show that just stemmed from laziness and the love of cartoons. Yeah.
It also stemmed from after we decided to do this, I was looking at my comic shelf. And I realized that I had lent out a bunch of my Thor books anyway, so I didn't even have them to reread.
And you know what's so funny is I actually put it on my credit card. They had that sale, that Jason Aaron sale, like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, and no.
I bought the from Jane Foster because I had all the early stuff, but I didn't have from Jane Foster till her death. So I bought
the best stuff.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I've read it, some of it before, but I was like, oh, I don't own that, so I'll need it for the show. So I bought them. Luckily, they're only $2.99 or $3.99 a trade, but there was like 5 trades. So I spent about $20. So I was like, all right, cool. I got $20 and I'm covered. Now I can do the whole show with Alex. And then like we came up with this, and I'm like, all right, well now I got to spend $15 on HBO Max every month. And I go, but that's okay because I was probably going to do that anyway. So it worked.
Well, we can still do that show at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Maybe we'll condense it down to just those 5 trades. We'll just go through the Jane Foster kind of arc and do maybe like War of the Realms as the big finale.
that's a good point. We can maybe do that with like when the new movie's coming out. We could do like a
Love and Thunder.
Yeah, we could do like a countdown to it.
That sounds like we could do like a 6-week countdown and then top
The
it off.
final countdown.
And I also thought, even when we get through all these, we could go into the Justice League Unlimited stuff, since those are pretty much movies all in themselves.
It's true. They're like standalone movies. I love how you're like, oh, when we get through these, it's like, do you know how many of these animated movies there are?
Yeah, I mean, there's a new one like every 4 months.
Right. Yeah, actually, I just did a trailer reaction to the newest one, Justice Society World War II, and that comes out on my birthday on May 11th. And I thanked Gary over at Warner Brothers. I said, hey, thank you for releasing this on my birthday. He's like, you're welcome. Like he did it for me, which is obviously not the case. Yeah, so you know, I have a deep love for DC Comics. I've tried a couple times to do DC shows on this YouTube channel. None of them really took off. In fact, nobody's here in the chat right now. So this will be easy to do, because what Alex and I are going to do, if you are watching this later on and you're not watching it live, we are going to watch Justice League versus Teen Titans, the animated movie, through our HBO Max app. But if you own it on Blu-ray, DVD, or digitally some other way, and you want to watch along with us, you know, we encourage you to join us. We're not going to show the footage on screen, obviously for copyright reasons and all that stuff. So if you're just listening to this later, you can just listen to it as a podcast, and you just have the added bonus of, because of StreamYards, being able to see us and our reactions to stuff. Because I think that was the one thing missing from our Batman and Robin review or commentary, was seeing our laughs and faces.
Oh, our reactions to things.
Yeah, because I really had I was very animated while watching that movie. I really loved it.
And before we start, it's also worth pointing out that we're alternating picks each week. So this week is my pick. I picked Justice League versus Teen Titans because I'll say that I'm much more of a Marvel and I'm much more of an Image Comics reader than anything, but I'm much more of a Marvel than DC reader. But I just love DC animated movies. I think they're so much fun, and I've loved them for as long as they've put them out. So I Justice League vs. Teen Titans is my favorite. It's one of the best in my opinion. I think it's very clever, and I think it's well executed.
Nice.
And sequel, what's going to be your pick next week?
Well, first I want to say that Sam Liu is someone who I follow and follows me on Twitter, and we've had conversations before and stuff. And he's the director of this movie, and he'll be very happy if he ends up listening to this episode. He'll be very happy to hear that this is your favorite, because I think he has a lot of love for this one too. Hello, Daniel. How's it going, Daniel B? Yeah. So next week we are gonna, since it's on here, I can't even believe it's on here, and Alex has never seen it before, I don't think. We're gonna watch Mystery of the Batwoman, which is a Batman movie that I've brought up probably like a dozen times throughout the course of me being on YouTube in random moments, where I've talked about how much I like it, because it actually has a Bruce Wayne who is a little bit more positive. Like he's a little bit more upbeat in it. And I like that. And it is based in the animated series universe, which is also cool. The Bruce Timm universe. So we'll watch that next week. So yeah, any last words before we get started, Alex?
No, we've been talking too much. I'm sure people are like, Christ, this is a 70-minute movie or an 80-minute movie. And
yeah, they're like trying to hit play. They're like, just do it now.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Yep. So someone leave a comment down below to skip to this time code, and that's when the movie's going to start. So I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then we'll press play on 0. Okay, Alex?
Sounds perfect. On 0. You're going to say 0.
I'll say 0, and you press it right at 0.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, 0, and press on 0.
Exactly. And you watch it at home, you do the same thing. If you have the movie pulled up, do it. And best way to do these, I do this stuff all the time. I usually have my TV where I'm watching the movie without, with just the noise coming out of the TV. And then I have a podcast or a video like this on my phone, and I plug my headset into the phone and listen while I'm watching the movie. So that's usually how I do this. So there's just in case I'm sure most of you know how to do this. But I'm going to do the countdown, and we'll go 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. And the movie has begun. Rated PG-13.
Oh, I forget that these get rated PG. There's one of them. Which ones are rated R? Are there 2 R ones? I know Killing Joke is R.
Killing Joke is R. I think Apocalypse War might have been R.
Oh, that would make sense. That one's probably necessary.
So I like this opening because it has like all of the Justice League coming in, but also the Legion of Doom, which in this continuity had not been introduced yet fully. But anytime I see Lex Luthor in that armor, I'm in love. I love that armor.
It is pretty cool armor. And this is one of the better, I think, animated movies as well.
This is a good one. This is a really good. And the opening here is great. It's a good cold open. But it's a good superhero. Like, I think sometimes when you've already established your superhero universe, whenever you do sequels or continuations, like this is a continuation of this universe, it's good to have an opening that's just full of action to kind of get it out of the way and introduce your characters.
Yeah, and not only does it introduce the characters, it sort of starts hinting at the plot sort of kind of immediately.
Right.
So it kind of does 2 things, which I think is a hallmark of good storytelling, that your scenes aren't just action or your scenes aren't just schlock. They're also progressing the story in some way. True.
And Daniel brings up a good point. He says the Snyder Cut is rated R. I mean, yeah, it's not an animated movie, but yes, it is rated R. And Alex and I may or may not do a commentary track over that at some point if we have 4 hours to
I'll have to really. It'll have to be a day I just decide to drink
and sleep all day.
Drink and sleep. I'll sleep. You'll just have to periodically wake me up through the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. For anyone, we're not here to offend, obviously, but both Alex and I aren't super big fans. But we are both curious to watch that cut. So
I think it'll be better than the first, like the one we saw in theaters. Because
well, that's not hard to do. Yeah.
What happened with the one we saw in theaters is like the first half hour, I was like, this is great. I don't know why anyone would complain. And then like an hour and a half in, I was like, okay, it's got some kind of weird choices, but it's still pretty good. And then it kind of just keeps kind of going off the rails.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do a commentary on that version one day. I love Damian here. He's technically around and part of the team, but like Batman again doesn't trust him to do things. I really love Damian as
Robin in training.
Right. Well, I mean, not really though. He's learning teamwork, I guess, is the training part. Because he could probably kick Batman's ass.
Couldn't kick the Bat family's ass.
Well, Nightwing went toe-to-toe with him, and Nightwing barely made it.
Yeah.
I love that scene. That scene's amazing. Yeah, it might be Daniel. Daniel said the Snyder Cut might be the only 320-minute film that's 4 hours long and R-rated ever. I don't know. How long wasn't Tarantino's Hateful Eight broken into 4 like 50-minute episodes?
Yeah, on
Netflix.
On Netflix.
So maybe,
and even I don't think the in theater one was 4 hours, but I think if you count the Netflix one, it'd be 4 hours. And I guess you should count the Netflix one because this is going to a streaming service too.
Right. Yeah. It was like an exclusive cut for a streaming service. So yeah, I like Flash there. He just took his Weather Wizard's wand. I love this stuff. Like Solomon Grundy, I'm such a big fan of, and anytime I see him used, I get really excited. I think I even told Sam once, I was like, "Hey, thanks for using Solomon Grundy in this movie," because my favorite meme with Solomon Grundy is from the Super Friends. I think it was the Adult Swim ad where he was like, "Solomon Grundy wants pants too." That's like the best.
They do kind of integrate some less than utilized villains in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Especially right here. Was that Toy Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cyborg.
I like Cyborg a lot in these movies.
Me too. I'm a big Cyborg fan. I grew up when I was a kid reading comic books it was not cool to read comic books, first of all. But when the people who did read comics that I knew, which wasn't that many, you were either in two camps in Marvel. You were either an Avengers fan or an X-Men fan. Same thing at DC. You were either a Justice League fan or a Teen Titans fan. And in both cases, I was an X-Men fan and a Teen Titans fan. And I came in with Chris Claremont's X-Men stuff, and I came in with the George Perez, Marv Wolfman Teen Titan stuff, which brought us Cyborg and Starfire and some of these characters. So I'm a big Cyborg fan, big time.
I think they do a really good job with him in the New 52 kind of era animation and in kind of comics too.
A little bit. They've attempted some stories in the comics, and some of them have been good, some of them kind of meh. I don't really like him as being brought to life by a mother box. I'm not a big fan of that, because then he just kind of became the guy who could teleport everybody everywhere, and that was like his main role in the team. But I did like what Jeff Johns did, where he revealed that there was a villain inside of Cyborg from another universe called Grid. And then he like turned on the Justice League. I thought that was kind of neat. And I think they did that in one of the animated movies too, kind of. With Apocalypse.
Apocalypse War. Which is another really good Justice League animated or just DC animated movie.
For sure. Yeah. We got to do it. We'll definitely do Apocalypse War one day.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt there's really good ones and really bad ones. I mean,
sure.
Some of them are kind of going to be more roasts than anything.
This shot here, I love. It's like Trigon is like going supernova with his powers. Mm-hmm. And Damian's like, I'm tired of just being on People Patrol. Like, I'm getting involved.
Yeah, and he's such a control freak, and it's such a cool character trait, because he's so skilled in everything else, but his lonerness makes him like the biggest liability.
Yeah, he actually more so than Batman, because Batman has that obviously too, but Batman has learned to rein it in by this point, working with the team. But
like he recognizes Superman as a colleague,
right?
While I think Damian recognizes his teammates as people who get in way of his decision.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Damian feels his judgment is the best judgment.
He's like, unless you're doing what I say, you're not doing it right.
Right. I mean, and that makes sense. If you look at him as a character, he's raised by a warlord or dictator, kind of, with Ra's al Ghul, a cult leader, and was enabled by his mother to continue to act that way, and then also trained to just kill everyone. So he's all of Batman's qualities in raw form, and nothing's molded yet.
Yeah, it's not refined. He's that's kind of a really good way to put him. He's like a jagged Batman.
Yes, yeah, he's like the stone that hasn't been shaved down into like a statue, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Superman here trying to come to Damian's defense and just losing instantly. Batman's like, "This is my son. Shut your mouth, Clark."
It's a lot of fun. I read that Batman Damnation book.
Yeah.
Or not Batman, or whatever, that Justice League Damnation book where the world's like a zombie apocalypse, Marvel Zombies for the DC universe. And I loved the Damian and like Superboy stuff in there. How they were like good friends. And
you should really read hey, what's up, Shadow? How's it going, dude? Snyder cut as Jared Leto's Joker. Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know if it's his redemption film or not, but we'll see. What was it? What were you just saying, Alex, about Damian?
Oh, that I liked him and Superboy's dynamic and Damnation stuff.
That's it. I think it's called Dead Planet or something. The miniseries or whatever. Yeah, the zombie story. But there's a book called The Super Sons, which I think you would really like. It's written by Pete Tomasi, and it focuses on Damian and Jonathan Kent, Superboy.
Oh, okay.
And it's so awesome. It's like one of the best books DC has put out in the past 5 years. I love this scene. Anytime my favorite line about Nightwing in recent years came from Grant Morrison, who is the guy who put Damian and Dick Grayson together, him and Nightwing. And he said the only person in the whole DC universe that could tame Damian is Dick Grayson. He's like, even more than Batman, Dick Grayson. He's the only one who will ever get through to Damian on that level. And I love that Grant Morrison thinks that highly of Dick Grayson, because I do too.
It's a pretty kind of cool dynamic, because I think Dick Grayson sees a lot of himself in Damian, but sees him in a way that he's like, oh my God, you could be 50 times what I am.
Right.
If you just are smart about it.
Right.
He's like, if you just learn to work as a team, you could be bigger than Batman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. I think all Dick Grayson sees when he looks at Damian is that potential.
Yeah, it's just that raw potential that just needs needs the track.
Right. Yeah. And here we are, we're getting introduced to the Teen Titans. We have Raven and Beast Boy talking here, who was
Blue Beetle, I think. Is that his name?
Yeah, Blue Beetle. Yeah, and Blue Beetle is kind of like it's funny, this team is like, normally when you're, because I think of everything from, when I think of team dynamics, I always think of the A-team, because that's something I grew up with.
Yeah.
But there's always like the leader, there's the guy with the plan, there's the muscle, and there's the wild card. And this team has more than one wild card. Damian's a wild card. Beast Boy's kind of the jokester, so I wouldn't say he's much of a wild card. But Jaime, Blue Beetle, is kind of a wild card, and Raven is the biggest, because as we saw in the opening, we got introduced to Trigon, who we don't know, if you're not a fan of the comics, you don't know how he's tied to Raven yet, but we're going to learn that throughout this movie.
It's kind of interesting, because it's sort of assumed at the beginning that Raven isn't a wild card. She is a reliable member. She's not someone who can really be compromised, and it's sort of the exposure of her weakness through this movie.
Absolutely. I agree.
I also like that because I mean, I grew up on the Teen Titan cartoon, and I really like that they made Starfire kind of older and more of like a leader and mentorship role of the team. Because it really does free up to have the Dick Grayson character, or not the Dick Grayson, but the Damian character have to learn the teamwork and be kind of distant and stuff.
Yeah, I think the age manipulation of her is good too, because it's really not her that they're manipulating the age for. It's basically they just they made everyone else a teen, and then they had it to where there was a Teen Titans before, because obviously Cyborg exists in this world, so they actually I think allude to Cyborg maybe having hung out with these guys a little bit in his early days of the Justice League.
Yeah, there's like a part where they kind of all become friends, and I think at the end, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think Cyborg is sort of friendly with the Teen Titans at the end of the movie.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's just like a nod to the Wolfman and Perez stuff.
Yeah,
this scene here, where
it's an interesting way to unite those characters again.
True. I like that they did a simple scene here where Clark is just doing laundry. It's like I know what it's like to sit in a room and try to, and I know you do too, right? As a writer and artist yourself, like you're like, all right, I got to figure out what to do with this character and how we're going to have him like get possessed. So what setting is it going to happen in? And it's really hard to convince sometimes like a studio who owns the rights to a character like Superman to go, hey, we want it to happen in the laundry room, because they're going to go, no, can't he be doing something like super? And you're like, no.
You're like, well, what's creepy about a bus? Or like saving a bus full of people from a dangling bridge? Or what's creepy about a mugging? Like a laundry room in a basement with concrete walls is kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's neat. Shadow has a question for us. As the Damian, I love that line. He's like, he hasn't stopped for an hour and a half. He's just like killing holograms for like an hour and a half. But Shadow wants to know what our favorite DC character is, if we have one or a couple.
Oh, geez.
Even if it's your absolute favorite. Yeah, do you have like one or two that you want to throw off or think about sometimes?
Man, who do you know what? I really grew to have an affinity for Booster Gold after reading the 52 stuff. I liked his character a lot, and I thought that was a really fun run for him. Who else do I like? You know what? I really like Sean Gordon Murphy's Batman White Knight stuff.
Mhm.
I like that version of Batman. I don't like. I like that version of the Bat family a lot.
Sure.
I don't know. What you say? Some. Let me think a little bit.
I agree with you on the White Knight stuff. Like for a newer book, that had such an impact on me as far as like, wow, this is really, it's a really neat light to shine on these characters. It also made me like Joker a little bit more than I normally do because I'm not a big Joker fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm Nightwing to me is the center of the DC universe. I think that guy is he's got friendships with everybody, like from the Teen Titans to the Justice League to different versions of Flash and Green Lanterns. Like he's the first sidekick. He grew up around all the big league superheroes. Like I don't think there's anyone in the DC universe more capable of anything than Dick Grayson. I think that guy could have been no matter what, he was destined to be the best at whatever role he was going to play in the DC universe. I think he's a better Batman than Bruce Wayne. I think, or at least I enjoy reading about him more as Batman than I do Bruce Wayne. I love his relationship with Damian. I wish he would just marry Barbara Gordon, and they need to just pull that Band-Aid off.
Real quick, I love that line. I love that he's like, "You wear a weapon. I am a weapon."
Yeah, I love that. And I do like this. Like Damian gets really messed up, so he gets a little slice of humble pie, which you definitely need when when you have a character that's arrogant and you want the audience to like them. You have to come up with a point in the story where they get humbled, because then they can grow from there. And he gets humbled in the way that makes the most sense to Damian. He got his ass kicked.
Yeah. Like that's what he understands. He understands violence. If he can beat you up, he can't respect you.
Right.
And he can't beat up Batman, so he begrudgingly respects him.
Right. I like that little nod there. She just saw Damian holding two guns. That is a nod to Batman issue 666, written by Grant Morrison, which take place in a future where Damian becomes the new Batman, and he kills, obviously. But Tavia is in the chat. He's a big DC fan, and he will be very happy to know that I told you should go read Super Sons, because that's one of Tavia's favorite books at DC as well.
I'll have to put it on my list.
It's really good, man. It's that first 12 issue run by Tomasi is like, I think it was 15 or 16 issues. It's really good. But yeah, I mean, I like the dynamics they put. My favorite thing is the parallels between Damian and Raven that I didn't even think of ever. This is why I like Sam Liu, who directed this, and he might have written some of it or helped steer the story with the writers of this movie. I think that's more accurate, is they're writers and he kind of works with them. But whoever came up with this idea, I thought was genius, because it's a thing I never thought of. Raven and Damian are so similar. Like I never put those puzzle pieces together, because when I saw the trailer for this and I saw that there was a romance between them, I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then I saw the movie and I go, okay, foot and mouth. They both have dads that are evil. And like, they're like super evil, like not like just kind of evil, like Ra's al Ghul and Trigon are really up there. World domination evil. So I love that parallel, and that's how they connect later on in the movie, is they share a scene where they open up to each other about that. And I really
it's sort of like Damian's like, I had this horrid, harsh childhood,
right?
And Raven's like, yeah, my dad's a devil, and he's like, oh,
yeah. He's
mine are at least human, I guess.
Right. Mine's just a really bad guy terrorist.
It's like a terrorist, but yours imprisoned 400 billion souls and tortures them all the. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Never mind.
He's like, all right, if this is not a competition, but if it was, you won. What did you think of this relationship where they had a Wonder Woman and Superman? Because they did it in the comics, and obviously this is trying to
mimic that. I don't know.
Someone clearly didn't like it because they retcon it really fast when they have to do Death of Superman. All of a sudden, at the beginning of that movie, he's dating Lois, and he broke up with Wonder Woman. And you're like, wow, that was retcon really fast.
Yeah, it's sort of weird. I don't know. I think it just sort of streamlines the story,
right?
Because in a lot of these movies, there's nothing for Lois Lane to really do, I don't feel.
True.
Like
Yeah.
the only thing she quote unquote could do is be the thing that brings Superman back after he's possessed or something. And that's kind of a dumb story beat.
Right. Yeah, actually,
And
I was thinking about that when they translated Death of Superman in the animated form. I was like, on one level, I was like, I like that they did Lois because that's comic accurate, but I wonder if they just told the story where Wonder Woman was the one who grieved his loss. Like, would that have had a similar impact or not? I don't know.
because doesn't that one start off with him not like dating obviously Wonder Woman, but they're like fighting together in the beginning or in the opening scene.
And they mentioned they had broken up and that he's been with Lois for a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a year or something. Oh, I love this. This is where Raven's like, yeah, I know you're, yeah, I know who your dad is. He's the demon's head, but I know all about being a child of a demon.
Yeah, but like, that's just a name, dude.
Right. That's just a title he gave himself.
Like, my dad is literally a devil.
Yeah, he's like a devil, like a major devil. I always really love the Raven character from the comic books and her struggle with her father with Trigon. I always related to that kind of thing about, looking at your father figure as an actual devil. And I really love that about her. But I will say one version of her story that I hate more than anything is the Titans live action show. Because it starts off really good, and then Trigon's the villain in the final episode, and he's just a dude. And then in the first episode of season 2, he's like beaten in the first 10 minutes, and you're like, what? Like, you're like, what a waste of a character.
Why did we do this?
Why did you even do the Trigon story?
Yeah. I was just thinking about it. Like, you mentioned that, like, oh, you related to Raven because of like childhood and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because a lot of these superheroes, you kind of, any sort of childhood background you had, it's to a certain way represented. If you grew up with like a single mom or both your parents or just a dad or no parents at all, I mean, there's a lot of like superheroes from all kinds of terrible backgrounds.
Well, unfortunately, it's because there's a lot of people that come from terrible backgrounds sometimes, and there's I guess a lot of those people end up in the creative fields because they need some way to deal with that.
It's so funny because I think Superman and Batman are really like just the best contrast in that sense, because
yes,
Superman, obviously in most comic iterations, he still has his parents and he gets to talk to Ma and Pa Kent, while Bruce had his ripped away, obviously. And it's so cool to see how very similar characteristics drives characters in very different directions.
I always love that too. I think that's my favorite thing about Superman and Batman is that, yes, Superman lost his parents, but he immediately got two amazing ones who raised him properly. And then you had Bruce, who had Alfred as a surrogate father, who did his best too and raised him really well. And they still ended up on the same path, and they still have the same values, maybe different tactics, because Bruce focuses on his pain and loss, whereas Clark embraces the life and love he had.
Sorry to cut in. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie. And this is why I also like a lot of these DC animated movies, because I love when Superman just loses it.
Yeah, everybody loves seeing Superman lose control, or at least use his full extent of his powers. And Atomic Skull is one of those villains who I really love. He pops up in a lot of these movies, but in different forms,
Superman versus the Elite, where Superman quote unquote loses his powers as well. It's Atomic Skull.
Yeah. So I like that. And here we get to see Clark, losing. He's given into Trigon. I like that. Oh, I like that too. That line where she's like, what is that? Why does it hurt him? And he's like, I guess it doesn't tell you. He doesn't tell you everything. Oh, look at that. Superman mutated is always a cool look too.
The morphing is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like that line where they're like, it's like, all right, you inherited his body, but you also inherit his weakness. That actually pops up later in Apocalypse War when he reabsorbs Superman, which I like. I think they did a really good job. Like, I like these cartoon movies way more than the New 52 comic books.
I kind of do too. Like, they're really snappy and they're good paced versions of these stories.
Right.
Like
One thing
even the war movies, really great.
I agree. One thing people complain a lot about these movies, or at least I won't say a lot of people complain, but I've seen some people complain, is the animation style. But what drives me crazy about that is Phil Barassa, by the way, does the animation style. He's so phenomenal. He's been working at DC Animation for years and in cartoons for years. The guy's a genius. And he, when they were making Justice League War, he wanted to create a house style that felt like it pulled a little bit from Jim Lee's style, with like really straight lines on the jaws and stuff, and certain head shapes. Like he was really trying to focus, like, all right, how do, without the scratchiness of a Jim Lee drawing, how do I get like a smooth animated version of it? And every time they did one of these movies, people got mad. Like, why is it in that style? Why don't they do a different style, like Batman Ninja? And I'm like, because those are not in the same continuity. Like they created a house style so that they could pump these movies out, one or two a year.
So there was a standardization to stick to.
Yeah, but that's what you would do on an animated show too. And since these guys made these movies as frequent as like an animated show, it has to have that. So
a good example is like Justice League Unlimited, how the characters kind of go in and out, but they still have to stick to the style, even though it's kind of different stories.
Right. Like you said, Stargirl being a teacher here, I really like, because one of the things I did not like in the New 52, where they made Corey like she was just like a over sexualized alien. In Red Hood and the Outlaws, like where she was like in the first issue alone, I think she slept with both Roy and Jason. And I'm like, all right, like, come on now, pump the brakes on that, man.
I kind of like her dating Nightwing in these movies too.
You don't like that?
No, I do like it.
Oh yeah. Oh well, they dated in the comics like back in the 80s, and so I always like that relationship. But in the end, I feel like Dick Grayson and Barbara, they just make the most sense to me. Yeah, they really. As she lays down, we both went quiet.
Yeah, it's one of those like kind of fan servicey scenes.
Yeah, that's definitely a shot for the thirsty out there.
Yeah, it happens in like, it's weird the parallels between like comic books and anime in that regard, where there's both a different version, but just so much blatant fan service.
Right. Yeah. Well, I like how me, you, and Nightwing all went quiet for like.
We're all like,
yeah, we're all like, like, you guys animated that really well. So I like this because also there's a little bit of like an invasion type story here, which I like, where it's like, if like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something like that, when they come down, or Starro, they one by one take over the team. Yeah. And here Cyborg starts learning, like, okay, the team's being taken over and Cyborg may be the only one left. So I like that. But right now it's like not so much. Like right now it's like, okay, we got to get to this girl that this monster is looking for, and they haven't figured out yet that it's Raven.
Raven.
Yeah. Yeah, this is crazy. I forgot about
this. Ever happen in the New 52 comic books?
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. New 52 I stuck with for like a year on every title, and then I dropped down to half, and then at the end of the second year I dropped down to like a third or a fourth of that. So I didn't keep up with all of the books.
I think I read like 2 titles from the New 52, and then after a year didn't read any.
I really wanted to give it a chance and like it and hope that it got better, because it started off okay. Like I was like really interested in a lot of the books, and then they fell really quickly. Rebirth, I had the opposite effect. I felt like some Rebirth titles got stronger as they kept going. And some didn't, obviously, but like Hawkman, I think is that recent run on Hawkman by what's his name? He did Exo Manowar over at Valiant. Rob Van Didden.
Rob Van. Okay.
Yeah, he did a really great run on Hawkman. Here's a copyright. Luckily, we're not playing the audio, but there's like an actual song, and it's a very teen angsty song.
I don't know what it is, but I like the trope of superheroes going to carnivals.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Like that's in that Batman Rebirth stuff. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like that little, I think, one shot.
Just call me Eagle Eyes. I love this. I also like this too because these are really hard scenes to write in a story sometimes, because you're like, okay, I need the team to like have them be themselves, right? Like I need to find a way to where they can.
Yeah,
all be
you need to like represent them and let them succeed, and
right, and then have a little fun.
yeah.
Because you don't want everything to be so dour and everything. And I really like this where Damien's in the mirror and he's got like a big butt.
And he's like, what a funny mirror.
Yeah.
I have never encountered such a thing.
Yeah, because Damien, he's perfect for doing fish out of water stories.
Yeah.
Because he was literally raised in a cult of terrorists.
He's never been to a carnival.
Right. So I like this.
This is another good thing where he's like, okay.
Yeah, where he's just amazing. To where it's like not even fun for him. but this is what makes it fun. He this
like, I got a sword.
Yeah, which is such a Damien thing, but what he does next is so not a Damien thing. But that shows growth. Like look at her face. I love that. It's so simple, but he gives the toy away and shows that, hey, there is a part of him that cares about other people, like he's learning.
And he's like, what? This isn't protein. Why would anyone eat this?
Right. He's like,
here's my cricket bar.
Yeah. Oh man. Yep. And that's probably the first time anyone's ever complimented him like that. So that always, all of us know that feeling where we're like, oh, thank you, I guess.
Where you're like, oh, that's not a compliment I was ever looking for or thought I would receive.
This part right here is a personal favorite of mine because, not gonna lie, I used to play Dance Dance Revolution all the time.
Who didn't? A lot of people grew up with that.
Yeah, at the arcade, I lost a lot of weight playing that game, and I challenged friends all the time too, especially when I got really good. And I love that they made a scene where they they play it. It's so good. But then, of course, you got Damien, who's just like, none of these carnival games are even an effort for him. He's just like, whatever, I can do all this.
He's like, oh, it's just movement. I am a master of my body.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, he's like, oh, I just have to step on the arrows. Yeah. So good. Beast Boy, what are your thoughts on Gar?
I think he's a character that can so easily become so overpowered.
Yeah, he is. He's like Iceman on the X-Men. I think people don't realize just how much power is in a person who can do that. Like do what he does. He can become any animal. But yet on the Titan show, he couldn't become a mouse and get out of a cage, which always bugged me about the Titans.
Yeah, and even it's been established in the comics that he can turn into alien animals. And
right.
Like there's some crazy alien animals. And I don't know where the line is with that, but like he could turn into like a space shark.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he has on Young Justice. He has had more access to aliens in Young Justice, so he does turn into different things in Young Justice, which I like.
But I think that makes him such a more powerful character. Yeah. Like Iceman is another good example where you're like, oh, like he could probably like just freeze everyone if he really wanted to.
He could freeze the oxygen in the air as it's going down your throat. It's like he could turn a tidal wave into a giant avalanche. Like it's.
Do you remember in Avatar: The Last Airbender, they started to introduce like the like special bending, like water benders had blood bending and earth benders had metal bending and fire benders had the lightning bending.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of like the blood bending almost. It's like this
Ah,
sort of like unconventional OP thing that you're like, oh, I didn't think about it in that way. Oh god,
yeah.
that's creepy.
Speaking of creepy, like I love that scene where it's like, have you ever seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
I don't think I have.
I love that movie so much, but it's Denzel Washington as a cop who captures a serial killer right in the opening of the movie, and the serial killer gets put to death on death row.
And then the serial killer keeps coming back in different people.
Well, he doesn't, but you find out that there was a demon. So it was actually an innocent guy who was serial killing. It was a demon making him do it. So yeah, the demon Azazel is just jumping into different bodies. So that scene there where it's like all these people are like, go that way, over here. Hey, Raven leading her to the woods. I'm like, oh, that felt like it was right out of Fallen. I also like this, like Raven in this movie really, I didn't realize how much I like this take on her, I guess. And I know it's based on like the comics too, but this sense of like she has a noise in her head and she has to constantly fight for control over it. It's like, I remember the first time I watched this movie and I was like, holy crap, is like Raven. Like she just, I feel like she's my spirit person now. Like, cause I was like you don't, it's hard to convey like waking up every day with a pain in your head or a voice in your head, or, it's like, it's really hard to translate that. Mm-hmm. But I thought the voice actress did a really good job of like, when she's Raven, she never raises her voice. And it's because that adds to the discomfort and pain. It's a common thing with people with, TBIs or head injuries. Like a lot of times they don't want to raise their voice.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I need the calm. The calm is the only thing that'll help.
Right. Hey, what's up, James Matumbo? Welcome to the stream. We are just doing a live watching of Justice League vs. Teen Titans. We're about halfway through the movie now. We're at the carnival scene where all the demons show up and they're attacking Raven. And the other guys are doing Dance Dance Revolution, and they're going to soon come, hopefully, to her rescue. So we're already halfway through the movie. But you can hang out with us and chat, talk DC stuff with us if you want. Other favorite DC characters, though, I love Lex Luthor. He's probably my favorite villain in the DC universe.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love Lex Luthor.
I just always thought of him as like evil Batman.
Well, kind of. I mean, to me, he's certainly anti-Superman. Like, he's I don't know. Like, I always like villains like Doctor Doom and Marvel, like villains who, man, they could really change the world for the better if they were good people. And I feel like that about Lex Luthor. I'm like, man, if he was a good guy, he would be a damn good ally. But I
kind of feel like Lex Luthor is almost what Superman would have become without tragedy, or not Superman, but Batman.
Right. Well,
like if he had grown up just a privileged rich kid or something like that, he would have turned into a Lex Luthor-esque character.
But Lex had he didn't have the trauma that Bruce had. But you're right. He did grow up with a father, but a father who didn't really love him.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
This
is another fan service scene.
Right. He's more like a typical rich guy story where it's like they're looking for the approval of their dad, and that leads to their hatred for superheroes, I guess. This scene where everyone's transforming is pretty cool because it reminds me of Power Rangers.
I was going to say it reminds me of Sailor Moon.
Oh, okay, that's a good one too. Yeah. With the sparkles.
Yeah, with all the sparkles, exactly.
Quantum says he felt like the character development was too slow in some of these movies. I mean, yeah, I guess in some of them, but like this one in particular, I thought they do a great job with the Titans themselves.
Like, I think he's totally right about something, maybe like the Judas contract.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
I don't think that one's a great one.
Okay.
But this one, I think really hits it on the mark well.
I mean, like I would say maybe I would agree on some level too with like Beast Boy. Like he's kind of the jokester in this, and he kind of still remains that. So there's not a ton of growth for him, and even Jaime. They have their moments at the end where they unite as part of the team, but that's not like a real growth for them because they were already working as a team in the beginning. But they still have some cool moments. But Raven and Damien really move up in this movie as far as development goes.
Yeah, and I think with a team movie like this, it's sort of hard to give everyone a big arc, especially in 80 minutes.
Right.
So I think when they sort of pick a character and focus on him, because Jaime is much more focused on in that Young Justice show, I think it's what it's called.
Yes, he is. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he's and that's in this continuity, I believe.
Yeah. No.
Is it not?
No. Young Justice is, well, it used to be Earth 16. I think it's different now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hard to keep everything together.
Yeah, I'm bad at the continuity.
But it is Phil Barassa artwork, so that's why.
I thought it was similar. I try so hard.
Oh, you do. You're doing great. Quantum says Bad Blood was awful. Was Bad Blood the one with Batwoman and who's the other guy?
Bad Blood it was a Batman Damian story, I think. It was a Batman story.
Well, no, it is a Batman story, but isn't that the Batman story that introduces Batwoman and Batwing? And that's
it is. Yeah. And it starts off with like that warehouse scene. Yeah, that's not one of my favorites either. But I like the Burnside cameo at the end. I just wish they put Burnside Batgirl in the movie.
Yeah, she shows up for like 10 seconds in Apocalypse War. Die. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's in Apocalypse War. She has the most to do in Apocalypse War, which is fight for about a minute and a half.
Yeah, then she gets ripped in half or something.
Yeah, then she gets ripped in half.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, Burns. Oh. But you're right. Some of these movies, I agree with the criticism. Like there's some that I like more than others. That's for sure. And that's why we're doing this. We're not going in any order. We're just picking random animated films that are on the HBO Max app, and we're
just going back and forth.
Yeah, we'll do one every week. So, like as Alex said earlier, he picked this one for our first episode because this is his favorite of those animated movies. And next week, I'm not picking my favorite, but I just picked one because Alex said he never saw it, which is Mystery of the Batwoman. Which actually, what's cool about that movie, and we'll talk about it when we see it, is I had the DVD of that movie, and there's a behind the scenes with I think Hector Elizondo. I can't remember. I think he plays Bane. There's a behind the scenes where he explains what it's like to play a villain. And it's one of those common sense things that you're like, oh, I should have known that. But when I saw that movie, I must have been like 17 or 18 when it came out. So or maybe I was 20, but it was like one early days of me writing scripts and stuff. And what he said to me changed how I wrote supervillains forever.
Well, what did he say?
He said, the best part about playing a bad guy is that you just don't play them as a bad guy. He goes, because no bad guy thinks they're the bad guy. And it completely changed how I write villains.
That's a good point. I think that you can see that in something like not Karate Kid, but actually Karate Kid and like the Cobra Kai stuff. How, no one's really the villain. Everyone's just doing stuff based on what's happened to them.
Yeah. Quantum says Justice League War was really good. He said it was the GOAT. That was the first one. I like that one. It's pretty good.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I didn't have too many problems with it. It was really entertaining. It's a big invasion movie. It's kind of similar to the Avengers in that way, the first live action Avengers movie.
Right.
I think they did a really kind of fun invasion story.
Yeah, that's fine. I really like their take on Darkseid. I know that whole movie is just ripped right from the Justice League comic book from the New 52, but I thought it was still pretty executed pretty well. What's up, Florent?
As well.
Yeah, definitely. And Quantum likes War. Yeah, definitely. And then Tavia says he hates how characters act like jerks in Justice League War. That's true. Some of them do. Like Superman's a little cocky, but again, it's a completely different take on Superman.
Yeah, I think they're jerks. I think because they don't understand how good they would be together yet, and it's sort of like they need to have this sort of arrogance because they need to become the characters that we know them to be. Kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's sort of the sucky thing about origin stories, in my opinion, where it's just like, ah, man, like I'm always kind of bored in the first act. I'm like, come on, get together, like be the heroes.
Right. Well, but yeah, sometimes we forget because we when we see Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, all them, they've been around 80 years. So you just immediately go, oh, they're heroes and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's always tough to get a new take when it's like them earlier in their career, because it's hard to swallow the pill of they don't know what they're doing yet. And at least for me, it is. But GL, I love Green Lantern. He's so funny in those movies. This scene here where Raven, all the candles are blowing out. She's got the purple flame, where she talks about her mother. And I think Beast Boy he just said to her a minute ago, he was like, wait, your mom did it with Satan? And she's like, sure. Yeah, his name's Trigon. And technically that happened, but you could see that it wasn't like a mutual, she didn't want to have sex with him. Like they make that pretty clear by the way he grabs her. You're like, oh my God. So yeah, these movies really push that boundary of that PG-13.
Yeah, it's so weird because some of these movies are so amazing and some of them are just like, why would you put this out?
I mean, yeah, it's, again, they're insinuating, so you don't really know. I mean, they showed her mother was in love with a guy, but then you find out the guy was just secretly Trigon.
Everyone's secretly Trigon. That's the problem with every guy out there.
There's a monster underneath, man.
Yeah, there's a monster. There's an interdimensional demon just lurking beneath the skin.
Yep. Batman Year One, yeah, that'll be a good watch for sure. Is that on
Batman Year One will be good. I'm excited for a lot of like the more extended Batman stuff because I haven't seen the Ninja one. I'm excited to watch that one, even though I'm not a big fan of the animation. I still think it'll be a fun watch.
I watched that movie and it's okay, but the animation is what I love most about it.
Maybe it'll grow on me.
It might, like after you watch a few minutes of it.
What other ones am I excited to watch?
It also halfway through that movie completely changes animation for a little bit, which is really cool.
Oh, that is I like when movies do that.
Yeah. Now skip it. Quantum says skip Batman Ninja. Well, we're gonna go with the ones we know and like first, but certainly we'll.
Oh no, I'm gonna mix some ones I hate in there too.
Yeah, Alex likes to rip on things sometimes too.
I mean, it's fun to hate watch stuff. Like, I mean, no one watches The Room or no one watches Trolls 2 or those kind of movies because they're
good movies.
Fun. Yeah, like they're fun because they're quirky and weird, and they're not good, but they're still entertaining. And I think doing this with you, we can make some of those movies entertaining.
There you go. Sometimes you don't have an awareness of how bad you are, which is the case of The Room and Trolls 2, which makes them sweet in a way because you go, oh, these guys don't actually know how to make movies, but they made one. Mm-hmm. And it adds there's like a little tenderness that you're like, they tried. So you kind of you're rooting for them a little bit, even though they made a mess. I hate when it's like, oh, you have all the resources you need and you still make a mess. It's like, and you know better, I like this part here. So
an interdimensional demon Batman, cut her some slack.
Right. I like this. Damian's like, no, stand back, Dad.
Stand down, Batman. Robin is here.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Even Jason didn't really have the balls to say stuff like that to Batman. And Jason was a little dick.
Just imagine Damian being like, Batman, protect the citizens. I'll deal with the villain.
Don't worry. I got this, Dad.
I got this. And like Batman's just trying to stop him from murdering everyone.
Right.
It's like some bank robbers who are like, I just thought I'd get punched in the face. That's a really big sword.
I did like the first animated movie they did with Batman and Damian in this universe where the Batman
Son of Batman?
Yeah, Son of Batman. I really did like that one because it was like Damian, he's like trying really hard like to not kill towards the end. He's like justice, not vengeance, justice, not vengeance. And then he accidentally kills somebody anyway. And he's like, justice, not vengeance. And he's like, next time. He like runs off. I thought that was really good.
I love how just prepared Batman is. It's just such a fun, crazy trait of his that you're like, oh wow, he's paranoid, but like, wow, does it pay off?
Well, that's the thing, is like he is the ultimate like tinfoil hat guy sometimes, but when it proves to be right, you kind of go, okay, maybe he's not crazy.
Yeah, you're like, okay, maybe he should have kept something to poison himself at all times. I guess that worked out.
Right. This, by the way, is great. We're actually seeing the fight now because the Justice League has been possessed by Trigon.
Wonder Woman looks super cool possessed.
She does. Yeah, she does. And I like that Beast Boy just turns into an elephant. He tries to crush her. But seeing her in a sword fight with Damian is cool. Seeing Cyborg and Blue Beetle in a blaster fight is cool. And then now we get Stargirl versus not Stargirl, Starfire.
Yeah. And you said that before, and I was like, did you say Stargirl?
Yeah, sorry. I meant Starfire. Sorry. Unfortunately, the DC universe is full of characters that sometimes their names are very close to each other. But yeah, I like how they pair up the fights here. They do a really good job. This is great. Flash versus Damian and Raven. To me, that's one of those things where they're like, oh, we got Starfire and Wonder Woman over here, and we got Blue Beetle and Cyborg over here. Who's going to fight Flash? And it's like, oh, we got to use, I forgot about that.
I also like how when Cyborg gets possessed, it gives him another robot eye. It doesn't just give him a normal eye. It's like, oh, we'll keep the symmetry here.
Sure, why not?
There's a design element here for these demons. Right. They have an aesthetic to uphold.
I'd like to see some Batman animated films with a different Robin in each one. I think that would be cool. Well, if you want that, you can watch Titans, the live action show. Every season's a different Robin. I think season 3 is coming up, and they're going to do Tim Drake. So it's like they had Dick Grayson in the first season going off on his own, and they introduced Jason Todd in the end of the first season into the second season, I think. I think it was second season. And then, now we have Batgirl and Tim Drake showing up in the third season.
Oh, they free Cyborg. That's great.
Yes, good. I love that. Of all the members they were able to get, they got the other Teen Titan member.
and again, it's another thing I like about it, because it is sort of a homage to the old Teen Titans show that a lot of people have nostalgia for, where it sort of reunites them, even though Starfire and Cyborg are older characters.
Sure.
And it gives them a real, like, very cool, tangible threat, like an evil Justice League, a possessed Justice League.
Right. Well, like any movie that has verses in the title, of course, that battle lasted like 5 minutes. Like it's like I think the only movie that had consistent battles in it was like Alien Predator. The second movie a lot more than the first one, but I think the first one, the last like 30 minutes are just aliens fighting predators. Well,
I mean, Apocalypse War is kind of like that. There's a lot of battles in it.
Yeah, but it's not called Versus.
It's not called Versus. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like versus Teen Titans, Batman versus Superman. Like they only fight for like 5 minutes. Freddy versus Jason, I think, had maybe 10 or 15 minutes of fighting in it between the two. But yeah, it's always like that's always a trope where they call it something like this versus this, and then so I'm a little curious about Godzilla versus King Kong. Hopefully, there's a lot more than 5 minutes.
We got to do a whole separate thing on that. But who do you think would win real quick on Godzilla King Kong? Because I'm Godzilla.
Are you?
Yeah, I think Godzilla. He's got a nuclear laser beam from his face.
Yeah, but he's got to hit the target.
I mean,
gorillas are fat.
Like level all of Tokyo. I think he could hit a gorilla.
A giant gorilla. I don't know.
Giant gorilla. I mean,
maybe not a regular gorilla.
A giant gorilla make it harder to dodge the beam.
Maybe. I don't know. Quantum says, "F that. I mean the cartoons." Yeah, no, that's for sure. Well, keep your eye on Young Justice. I think you'll get some other Robins probably there too. Probably at some point.
What are some other good iterations of Robin in the animated stuff? Is there a Robin in Justice League Unlimited?
Not consistently, but that's in the Bruce Timm universe, so it's technically Tim Drake, who was in the
good episodes in there.
I don't think Robin shows up on Justice League Unlimited.
I can't remember. I mean, so many characters do.
I know. Actually, I think they do 52 characters in that show. That opening scene where Green Arrow joins the
Yeah,
team.
that's true. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that is true.
Yeah, because I
They
think
also have the
Stargirl
other
and
Justice League show on there too.
Yeah, there was Justice League, which was 2 seasons, and that was the precursor to Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
But that was just 7 members.
Yeah, and it was a more consistent set.
Yeah, and it was 7 members and sometimes Aquaman.
And sometimes Aquaman. He had the whole sea to deal with. He didn't have time to deal with land issues.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what I always think is funny about Aquaman. They're like, you protect the sea. And he's like, it's bigger than the land.
Yeah, right. They're like, what are you doing all day? And he's like, I'm eating lobster. He's like, what do you think I'm doing? Like, I'm ruling the 7 seas, you jerk.
He's like, do you know how deep these things are?
Yeah. It's like, you guys haven't even explored all of this yet. Hold on, we got a compliment here. D3C1MU55. You guys are awesome. I know nothing about comics or movies or anything, but really your appreciation for these things is entertaining to watch. Full disclosure, MSPH brought me here. Hey, Puminati. Oh. And I'll always be a sub. Aw, dude, thank you.
Well, we'll be happy to be your dom.
How do we say your name? Decimus? Maybe it's Decimus with the 3 and the 1 and the 5s.
I like the kryptonite dagger here. It's another good element.
And I love that Damian used it. Damian is like, screw it, I'm going to go. Because I think he even says, he's like, I got Superman. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it's just one of those like badass lines where you're like, what are you planning? He's like, yes, I also have kryptonite daggers. Yeah. I am prepared.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm as paranoid as my father. Or I'm as paranoid as Batman.
He's like, you stabbed me. And he's like, what?
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I did.
Do you have a point here?
He's like, I do have a point. It was in your stomach a second ago. Okay, it is Decimus. All right. Yeah, I think we've talked before and stuff, but I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here, Decimus. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, we're going to do this every week now. We're going to try to do this every Thursday.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, this was a good idea, Alex. All right, so Superman is now free, and he's leading. I like to Yeah, so he's leading everyone towards the giant purple ring where her powers are being used. Is this the setting from Earth? Because remember we were in the flashback dream earlier where we saw like a Paradise Island looking place and Trigon destroyed it. So I guess they're back there, huh?
Yeah, it's like Trigon's realm or something.
No, this is on Earth, I think.
No, but that Paradise place.
Yeah, like he had like his own, like, I guess like sanctuary on Earth somewhere. Oh, yeah, because they're not in hell. That's like, I think that comes later or somewhere else. But I love that Superman just broke Barry Allen's leg. I love that. He's like, how long will it take you to heal? He's like, I don't know, an hour? Seriously, dude? You broke my knee? And he's like, well, you got 10 minutes. Get up.
He's like, you don't got a demon in you anymore. That's
right.
The best I can do for you.
The stakes are high, and there's a little girl that's going to die. So we need to get your shit together, Flash. But here we go. Boyfriend and girlfriend fighting.
Oh yeah, he's got the lasso.
We got him. Young Justice Dick Grayson. Yeah, and then but they brought in Tim already on Young Justice, I thought, in season like 2 or 3. 2. So yeah, I think we'll see more. I think you'll see more of that for sure. More, maybe more Robins. Who's your favorite Power Ranger? I don't know if I have one. I didn't really grow up with. That was more like my little brother's thing.
Man, my favorite Power Ranger.
I think I remember a guy named Zach. Was Zach a Power Ranger?
I can't even remember the era. Like I was in for like 4 or 5 Power Rangers eras before I kind of got out of it.
Gotcha. I
remember something about like a floating thing and some girl in a weird headdress. That's all I got. I was like the Green Ranger, I think.
Green Ranger. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that guy's coming here. The guy who played the Green Ranger. I think because there's a guy Alex and I know from working in comics named Kyle Higgins who does a lot of the Power Ranger comic books. I think he does a lot of DC stuff too from time to time. But I think they're doing a signing of the new Power Ranger comic here, and I think the Green Ranger is going to be there, the original Green Ranger. So,
is it that MMA Christian guy? You know what I'm talking about? The guy who goes to the conventions.
I don't know.
He's like an MMA fighter, and he's got like I think some cross tattoos or something. You know what I'm talking about? He's got like long black hair. I'm pretty sure he was a Green Ranger in some of the Power Rangers stuff.
This guy has long hair, I think. So yeah, probably. Yeah, it could be. JDF. Yeah, I don't know. Is that like his initials? JDF? All right, so they saved Raven, but she's got 4 eyes, and now Trigun is.
But he's on fire, so that's a start. Oh, he's not on fire anymore.
Yeah, he's on fire. That didn't last.
Thought that was going to be a helpful hint. Like, oh, he's on fire. Okay.
Oh, and his horns grew.
Why didn't they just appear like that? Why'd they have to grow?
I don't know. Why do Hellboys have to grow? I don't know.
He files them down. It makes sense. Is he like...
See, there's a story element there, right? No,
Trigun's a grower, not a shower.
Oh, Jason David Frank. Okay, yeah, I think that's the guy who's showing up for the signing. Hi, Echo. Hi, handsome boy.
Yeah, Pete's hanging out by me too.
Yeah, Echo. Whenever he hears me talking, he just comes and sits right by my feet. All right, here we go. I'm going to hell. So yeah, now they're going to go into his realm because I think this is where the source of his power is. But there's a great cameo in this scene. I won't spoil it now, but I'm sure we'll talk about it soon. There's a great cameo in this scene for Damien that I really love.
You love everything about Damien.
I'm a big fan of Robin the Mantle anyway, like the character. So every Robin I've loved, for the most part.
Who's your least favorite Robin?
Well, I guess not because I don't like her as a character, but I would probably say Stephanie Brown. But that's only because I think she had the shortest run as Robin.
Oh, she was in the Return of the Dark Knight one, right?
I think so. And then she became no, that's Carrie Kelly. That's in the future. Stephanie Brown was a character named Spoiler, and then she briefly became Robin, and then became Batgirl for a while. I liked her a lot as Batgirl, but I probably would have liked her as Robin too if they just did more with the story. They just didn't.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, but I do like
the Beast Boy demon alien thing.
Yes. So this is neat that this is Beast Boy's moment. Like I said, usually when you write these stories, the hardest thing is you want to give everyone a moment, every character something to do. Yeah. And what I really like what they did here was just him being in the presence of these monsters. His body is affected by it. It wants to change and shapeshift into what they look like. So he's just becoming like a demonic mess right now, which is just neat. It's just a neat concept.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of interesting because it's like doing body horror almost in in a cartoon show. Right,
he's like the Thing. Yeah.
Quantum. And now he's fully transformed into like some crazy ass like berserker.
Right, and then he's teaming up with Jaime, who he kind of had a rivalry with towards the beginning. So it's kind of neat. I like that. He's like, "You still with us, bro?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Like, oh man, we're gonna dance after this.
He's Hawaiian all of a sudden. He's like, "Yeah." Quantum says, "I'd like a Matt Gargan Venom run where he tries to be Spider-Man for a while." Well, there is that. It's called I can't remember what it's called. We talked about it on the show. Dark Avengers. So yeah, we're talking DC stuff here. Don't throw Alex off.
Yeah,
He's
you
like,
confused me.
Venom, what's although
You're
Venom
like,
did play
who?
Superman before.
Where's Invincible?
See, you already just now he's all over the place. I
Oh
mentioned Hellboy
no.
earlier. We caused a whole mess now.
So how does Valiant fit into Marvel?
Is Exo Manowar a Green Lantern
I
or a Nova Corps member?
really loved that. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Doctor Fate, Doctor Strange team up.
Oh, Doctor Strange Fate.
Fate Strange, yep.
No, Strange Fate.
Yeah, Fate Strange. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, right. It's the exact same thing. This is neat too. The way these demons transform. Like you said, the body horror stuff. It's really, yeah. They
Yeah,
really
like
went.
a Hydra monster.
Yeah, they went gnarly with this thing. Yeah.
It's a yeah, like a lot of the demony stuff is pretty creative here.
Right. Yeah. Like they were like, hey, we have to make hell look weird, and they do a pretty good job. I mean, the background is pretty standard. It could easily be an alien planet if this was
Yeah, I
all
mean they're like in like a crater.
right. Yeah, it's
There's some crater pillars.
but there's a fine line between PG-13 and R, because if you did R, you could have like bodies chained up in the background, whispering. You know, you could go really full force with an R rating. Yeah. But this is just PG-13. Huh, Echo. Huh. All right. I love purple. It's my favorite color. So anytime I see it used in anything, I get all excited. And I love that Raven's, she's got like a purple cloak and her light is purple. It's like, yeah, it's really nice. Because purple is actually a really calming color, but she's like connected to a demon. So it's like, it's such a contrast. I love it.
Oh, Raven.
Yeah. But I love this, the journey, because that's always something you see where they're like, whenever they translate things into movies and cartoons, you're like, sometimes writers want to go like, oh, well, we know Raven has a diamond on her head, but we want to go back and explain why she has it. And sometimes people do it horribly and sometimes they do it well. This is one of those times where I like that the movie is her journey to that crystal so she could trap Trigon into it. And that actually, I don't know if they planned it that way, but that actually plays into later, because in Apocalypse War, that's where they get Trigon from. It's from her diamond. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice.
And here reference. We go. Here's our cameo. Boom. I love that. A dead Ra's al Ghul serving Trigon. Oh.
No, Trigon, my sustenance.
That's not how he sounds. He sounds way cooler than that. You're like doing a Skeletor impression.
Where do you think my power came from, boy?
I have substance and substance.
I have everything I need. Sustenance.
Pour sustenance directly in my mouth.
Now, kill the child for my sustenance.
Yeah.
Hurry up. There's a minute and a half left.
But I love this too, because this shows like Damien does struggle. He did love his grandfather.
Yeah.
He did. This is the guy who raised him. And even though he raised him to kill people and do terrible things, it doesn't change the fact that Damien has a soft spot for him. But Damien also is a different guy now. So he's like, hey, F you, Dad or Grandpa. Like I'm not going to kill my friend.
Like, screw you. You raised me in a cult. This girl showed me what candy was. You never showed me candy.
You never showed me sugar.
That would be my like main critique. I'd be like, really? You raised me in a cult, but you still couldn't just get me a cake on my birthday, huh? I didn't ever get to try cake. There were no cookies. Do you know how many things I've realized there are? There's more than gruel.
I got one thing to say to you, grandfather. ice cream and cake and cake, ice cream and cake and cake. He starts fighting them. Ice cream and cake, yo, ice cream and cake, ice cream and cake.
That would be my main sticking point. Not the murder or the servitude to a devil.
Just the distracting him with the ice cream and cake song.
Yeah.
And then you beat him and you go peanut butter jelly and a baseball bat. And then you kill him. That's your finishing line.
And I love how he's like, your friends make you soft. And it's like, you're tied to a devil. Like,
you kneeled to a devil. Like,
how does that not make you weird?
Right. Yeah. I love that. And they said like that crystal in its fullest form is like, can definitely contain Trigon. So I like that she's like, all right, well, I'm going to pick up a tiny piece and I'm just going to suffer for the rest of my life, making sure this guy is trapped in here. It's like, oh my God, the sacrifice. Like it's, again, giving a character a moment. Like I think they did such a great job in Raven and Damien in this. Because they both kind of make a sacrifice here. Damien has to stand up against the person he loves and admires even more than his dad sometimes, and has to make a choice. And then she also is about to make a huge sacrifice by choosing a life of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Get him, Damien.
Yeah. And see, it's it's his pact with the devil that really does him in the end.
Well, yeah, because at this point, Trigon realizes like you're too weak to kill you're not going to kill him. You're not going to kill Damien. And Damien's like, good, I'll chop your head off. And then it turns out it wasn't even Raish anyway. Maybe his spirit was like lingering in that demon body somewhere, but
yeah, it's not really.
It's never said. Yeah, right. Which is fine. It doesn't really matter because the point of the scene is it's already been made. But I love this. They just keep cutting back to Earth while this like really personal battle's going on, and you just see like Godzilla level destruction. Yeah. Giant Trigon. So this is funny because any other movie probably would have focused on this battle for the visuals, and they chose to go more personal, which I really like. Like you get glimpses of this battle, but you mainly see everything from the Teen Titan side, which is cool. Oh, this is so good. A lot of destruction. No one's running out going, don't worry, the building's been emptied.
Yeah, they got PG-13. They don't have to do that.
Yeah, I guess not. I just remember them doing that in Batman vs. Superman a couple times. They were like, luckily this island has been evacuated. And then like everything on the island gets destroyed and you're like,
okay.
Cool. Like, I guess, yeah.
I guess you pointed that out.
Thank you. There we go. Boom. And I love that they didn't like do a full transformation. Like those extra eyes were just gone from her. It's
yeah.
Like real quick. Yeah.
He's like faded away.
Yeah. Like as Damien's hand was reaching onto her shoulder. It's like a really good moment. It's always weird to hear a chimera talking like a teenage kid. The donkey. The Beast Boy's a great. He's a great. I guess brevity or levity adder. Like he's easy to add levity through the story through him. Sometimes you need characters like that. Like I hate that they constantly use Beast Boy for that. Because obviously you want to see different interpretations of characters. But he always seems to be like, oh, I'm the guy who's like young, brash, and brings levity. But I really like what they do in Young Justice, where he like actually stands up against because he's in Young Justice, he's like an actor. And he stands up against his producers who turn out to be working for Darkseid. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I love it.
They're like, you know what will be great for our stock? Darkseid.
They've been setting Darkseid up since season 1 of that show, so they're finally getting to him now in the show. So season 4, I think we'll deal more with him too. So
everyone's setting up Darkseid. Darkseid's like the setup for DC.
He's their Thanos, kind
He's
of.
their Thanos. I mean, I guess you could say like Apocalypse. He's got like his big apocalypse planet. It's kind of Thanos-y.
Apocalypse? You mean Darkseid has Apocalypse?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is a character Apocalypse, but Darkseid's planet's called Apocalypse. I love this.
Yeah, the pizza.
The pizza, yeah, which is such a Teen Titans Go thing. So I like that too, because besides Jaime there, this is the Teen Titans Go team. Just with the addition of Jaime. So I like that. And I mean, I know Damian is not Dick Grayson, but it's like just the characters. I've always loved the pizza thing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Ninja Turtles too, and they do that a lot. So
yeah, it's a teenage snack.
It's so good. And it's just like, oh, we're ordering pizza tonight? Yeah.
And that's the end.
And there we go. We hit the end. I love that money shot with all the characters. Good job, Sam Liu. Good job, everybody. Brian Q. Miller did the story. And Alan Burnett. Alan Burnett worked on the original Batman animated series. And Brian Q. Miller is the writer of Stephanie Brown when she was Batgirl in the comic books. And I think he was also a writer on Smallville.
Huh.
So that's why we like this one so much. It's got a bunch of awesome people.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. It just really clicked with me the first time I saw it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Wes Gleason, who does a lot of the voice casting. Oh, we got the bonus scene here. We're back at Titan's Tower. This is, I think this sets up Judas Contract. Because, that's right. Tara.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I did not like her character in Judas Contract.
It's tough because that's such a tough character to really do. Because if we're going to I'm going to talk about something kind of creepy here for a minute. In the original comic book story of Judas Contract, it's a great comic book because there's some if it's kind of well known now what happens in that book, but at the time when it was coming out, it blew everyone's minds. They were like, "Wait, who's a traitor? What's going on?"
Eric Canetti was a storyboard artist on this.
Oh yeah, look at that, man! More reasons to love it.
Interesting.
So the comic book was done really, really well, but there was always this creepy element with Deathstroke. I love the character Deathstroke. I actually have his figure right here from McFarlane Toys. And the thing about Deathstroke, though, is for a little while there in the 80s, he was pretty much like sleeping with an underage girl.
Yeah, creepy.
Yeah, he was sleeping with Tara, and he was using her as a plant in the Teen Titans team to turn the screws on them and Beast Boy and manipulate them so that they would be weakened emotionally so he could finally come and beat them because, he's apparently the most skilled fighter in the world, but he keeps getting beat up by a bunch of kids.
It's like, God, these stupid kids and their shape changer.
The constant humble pie slices that he gets. So, there's this creepy innuendo where like him and Tara were in bed together. And I don't know what I can't remember. I think it was Marv Wolfman and George Price. I can't remember what their initial intentions were, if they meant that to be sexual or if it was like that movie, Leon the Professional, where it was like Natalie Portman was like hitting on Leon, like, walking around, being like, hey, we could be together. And he's like, you're a kid, get away from me. So it's hard to really know what they intended for that scene. At least I don't know. I've never read an interview with it, but it does come across really creepy. So ever since then, I think DC has been trying to rebrand Deathstroke as a Batman villain and not as a Teen Titans villain because of people who associate with him with that kind of level of creepiness.
It was weird that they kind of really play it up in the Judas Contract, though.
They do. That's the thing is like, and again, I don't know how old Tara's supposed to be because you could say Teen Titans, you could be 18 and 19, but they all look very young. So
he's looking very old.
He's way too old anyway to be with someone that young. But I mean, I guess to each their own and stuff. But still, it's like, as long as it's legal. But in this case, I'm not sure it is. So yeah, it's a really fine line to walk. So I agree with the Judas Contract movie. It just brought back that creepiness vibe to me, and it made me want to throw up. So I didn't really enjoy that movie too much either. So yeah, so let's talk for a few minutes as now that the movie's
As we
over.
wind down.
Yeah, we wind down. First of all, thank you for doing this and coming up with this concept for doing a show together, because this is a blast. Like
I had a good time.
Yeah,
we
because
got off topic a lot, but it was still fun.
Yeah, I am. That's the thing, though, is like we're not. Maybe I shouldn't list these as commentaries. Maybe I should list these as just like
watch alongs.
Yeah, watch alongs or DC podcasts or something. Because it's pretty much just us having a conversation about everything, and just sometimes talking about the movie. But that's okay. That happens sometimes in regular commentaries too.
I mean, yeah, it's still fun. We get on tangents and then we circle back.
I'm excited to watch Mystery of the Batwoman with you next week.
It'll be fun. I think I'll be more interested in the story because I've seen Justice League vs. Teen Titans like 50 times.
Sure. Yeah. And so that's the thing is like, if you have, we'll discuss it then. Cause like I go back and forth. I'm like, do I want to watch something for the first time while doing this, or would I rather watch it first so I know at least the story so that I can chime in with stuff throughout it? But I guess I'll just leave that up to us as individuals, what we want to do.
Yeah, I might try different. I feel like the Batman one, I kind of want to like watch it with you because I haven't seen that one. Most of them I've seen. I mean, I feel like it's going to be few and far between that I haven't seen of these. Sure. And I think it'll be kind of fun to see those for the first time and see what that's like with you.
Well, do you want to go ahead and pick your next one now, or do you want to do it next week?
Oh man, let me do it next week because I don't know what I'm going to pick yet.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Because some new stuff got added. So I was like, oh, I gotta see what's going on.
I love that right off the bat they say, you want more movies like this? Check out Bad Blood and Judas Contract.
Yeah, Judas Contract was recommended to me too.
What two do we hate? It's Batman and Harley Quinn we hated, and Killing Joke, right?
Yeah, those are my two least favorite. The ones I enjoyed the least, because I mean, the Harley Quinn one, it doesn't make sense to me. Like it confuses me.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Go ahead.
There's I think there's a lot of issues with Killing Joke.
I also don't like Wonder Woman Bloodlines. I tried watching that and I got bored really quickly, and I think I don't even think I finished it, and that's upsetting because I finished most of these movies. They're only 70, 80 minutes long, and so it's not a long time to watch a movie, but I just didn't like it at all.
You know what? I remembered what I wanted to pick.
What's that?
I want to pick Superman Shazam: Return of the Black Adam.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I think it's like only like 60 minutes or something, but I saw it was added today. And I was like, I remember liking that a lot after I watched it once.
Okay. Yeah, that's a shorter one, but yeah, absolutely we could do that one.
Yeah, it's like 62 minutes, I think. Yes. Still an hour.
Yeah, it's still an hour. So yeah, that'll be great. So we'll do that in 2 weeks. And next Thursday, come back and join us. We will be here to watch Mystery of the Batwoman. So make sure you have, your if you have HBO Max, pull up the movie on your HBO Max and get it ready. Or if you have the Blu-ray, DVD, whatever you want to watch it, or if you just want to hang out and just ask us questions and talk to us while we're watching it, feel free to do that too. But Alex, this was great, man. I really enjoyed having you.
I enjoyed doing this with you, man. It was a ton of fun.
All right. And we'll do it again next Thursday.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, everyone. And I'll put Mr. Alex Wilson. I'll put, you know what? I'm going to make a title card. So next time I could just have that up so people know where to find you. That's the one thing I didn't do. I worked so hard on all these animated things. Actually, I'll show them off real quick. So we have here, we have us as the Teen Titans. And then I also have this overlay where it's me and Alex. Alex has wanted to be Swamp Thing. And I really bombarded Alex last night. I was like, send me pictures of your face. And he's like, okay. And then he kept talking to me. And I'm like, stop talking to me and send me pictures. And you're like, I'm trying to get the lighting right, which I appreciate because your lighting's actually a lot better than on my photos. And I was the one haranguing you. And then there's me as Solomon Grundy. This one was a great one because Alex wanted to be Skeets. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll be Booster Gold. Your face is so amazing.
I know, it's a great one. I feel like I embody Skeet there.
Yeah. Hi, Booster. It's me, your best friend. And then us as the Hawk people.
Hawking around.
Dude, your head and your look was
It turned out perfect there, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect. It looked very Superman-ish. So I tried to find a Superman head to put you on. I was going to be Lois, but I thought the Hawk one came out really good.
Yeah, that turned out fun. I like it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I got a great body. I guess I've been working out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of pull-ups with your boobs, I guess.
yeah, that's me doing pull-ups with my boobs as always. Awesome. Well, Alex, I will see you next week, sir.
All right, man. I'll see you next week. This was fun.
Awesome. Thank you. And everyone else, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Peace.